Your submission of this form is important to our school because while it does not determine free and reduced meal eligibility like in a traditional brick and mortar setting, it does ensure that our virtual school receives all possible funding to enable us to better serve our students. This video is a quick tutorial on how to complete, sign, and submit the family income form. To do so, you will be using a program called DocuSign. DocuSign is software that our school uses to collect forms and legal signatures electronically at no expense to you. Please rest assured that the information you enter on this form is just as secure as it would be if you filled it out with a pen and paper and sent it to our office. The school office will send you an email from DocuSign that looks like the one shown on this screen. Please read the text for specific instructions, and once you have, click on the Review Document button. This will begin the signing process in a web browser window. When the form opens in the web browser window, you'll see a screen like this, and you'll click Continue. Feel free to read the instructions on the first page, and then click Start. DocuSign will automatically place you in the first field. We're going to start with step 1, which is the information about every child in your household. Please list the name of each child from aged infant through 12th grade for the 2021 school year in these spaces, and start with the student who is enrolled in our online school. For example, if I have 2 children, Jane Doe and Jason Doe, but only Jane is enrolled in the online school, I'll fill it out like this. I'll enter Jane's name first, since she's enrolled in the online school. The school name for her will automatically be populated. I'll enter her grade level. Just the number is fine. I'll say 9th grade. And then her date of birth. Notice that to the right, I have 4 checkboxes I can check if applicable. If Jane is a foster student or homeless or a migrant student or runaway, I can check the boxes that apply. Like I said, I also have another child in my household, Jason. Jason isn't enrolled in the online school, so I'm going to add him second. Now, Jason's actually only 2 years old, so he's not in a school at all, but he's still a child that I need to list on the form. So I'll put NA for not applicable for both the school name and the grade level. But I'll still list his date of birth. And just like with Jane, if any of the checkboxes to the right apply to Jason, I'll check those as needed. If you need more than the 4 spaces provided on the form, please contact the school office and we'll have a paper form sent to you instead. Now let's move on to step 2, which asks if anyone in your family participates in certain assistance programs like CalFresh, CalWORKS, or FDPIR. These are collectively and commonly known as food stamps. If no members of your household participate in one of these programs, leave this area blank and move on to step 3. But if anyone in your household, including yourself, participates in one of these programs, please check the box for the program that applies to you. And when you have, enter your program's case number to the right. Case numbers can vary by program, so please take a moment to check your program's documentation that you've received to ensure that you enter a valid case number in this field. Obviously, that's just a sample number, but you get the idea. After you have checked the program box and filled in your case number, you can actually skip step 3 and go right to step 4, which we'll cover shortly. But first, let's take a moment, just in case you didn't check one of the boxes in step 2. Let's look at step 3. In step 3, you must fill out the income section if you didn't check any of the boxes in step 2. And in step 3, it's where we list the income for each person in the household. Let's start with child income. Examples of child income are earnings from jobs that the children have, assistance that the children directly receive in their names, Social Security benefits, things like that. If none of the children you listed in step 1 have any income, you can simply leave it blank and move on. But if any of the children do have income, total up their gross pre-tax income that they receive and enter it along with the corresponding frequency for that income. So for instance, in this example, let's say that Jane has a part-time job that she works at when she's not doing school, and she makes $200 every other week, and that's pre-tax. So I'll enter $200 there, and since it's every other week, I'm going to choose every 2 weeks, 2W. Like that. Note that there is a difference between every 2 weeks and twice per month. You can see that there's a 2W option and a 2M option for twice a month, and there's a difference. Every 2 weeks means the person receives the income or gets paid every other week, maybe every other Friday, for example. 2 times a month is different because it is twice a month and not every other week. The two are slightly different because annually, a person receiving income every other week is paid 26 times a year, whereas a person paid twice per month, maybe on the 1st and 15th of the month, is only paid 24 times. So I'm saying here that Jane makes $200 every other week. I'm not saying that Jane makes $200 twice a month. Now we will list all of the adult members of the household and their income if they have any. I'll start with myself, John Doe. Now, if I don't have any income, I can just leave all of the fields to the right blank and move on. If I do have income, though, I need to list the gross amount and the frequency in the correct column to the right. Note that income is grouped into 3 different categories: earnings from work, assistance, child support, alimony, and then pensions and retirement, investments, and other incomes like that. A person can have more than one type of income, so if that applies, please be sure to list all the income types for each adult. For example, let's say my gross earnings from work are $1,200 2 times a month. I'll enter $1,200 in the earnings from work column, and I said 2 times a month, so that's going to be 2M. So that means like on the 1st and the 15th of the month, I get paid $1,200 gross. Now, if that was my only income, I would move on. But let's just say in this example, in addition to my work income, I also get child support in the amount of $200 every month. I would enter $200 in the child support assistance column, and if it's monthly, I use the M for the month. Again, if that was all the income I had, I would move on, but let's just take it one step further and say that I also, from investments, get $50 a month. I would enter it like that. So now I've completed the income section for myself. If I'm the only adult in the household, I can move on. But if there are other adults in the household, like my spouse or a relative or a child who lives with me but is past 12th grade, I need to list those folks here too. In this case, I'll say that my wife, Jill Doe, is another adult in the household. And I'll fill out her name on the second line, like so. Jill doesn't work as she stays at home and is the learning coach for our children. So for her, I will enter her name and just leave the fields to the right blank. So in this example, these are all of the members in my household. And so I have completed entering the names and the amounts for everybody. The next step is to list the total number of household members down here. This should equal the number of people listed in steps 1 and 3, which is 4. So I'll enter 4. And then, if I have a social security number, I'll enter the last 4 digits of it. Or, if I don't have a social security number, I'll check the box indicating that I do, and it takes that field away. Now it's time for step 4, which is pretty straightforward. First, I need to sign the form. And that's really easy. All I do is click on Sign. A window pops up, and I use my mouse to draw my signature. The school will usually pre-populate my first name and last name. The date is automatically populated with today's date. I enter my phone number. Mailing address. City and state and zip. Obviously, these are just for example. And then my email. The only remaining step, if I wish to, is to complete the ethnicity and race information section for my children here. That's optional, but we do ask you do it. When that is done, I scroll to the bottom and hit Finish. When I click Finish, DocuSign will route the form directly to the school, and I will also get a copy of the completed form in PDF format in my email inbox. Again, thank you for taking the time to fill out this form for our school. If you have any other questions, please contact the school office for assistance.